Alrighty, we're live. Hey everybody.
Hello.
More than just me and Mike this time, huh?
That's
It's
right.
Got a big
exciting.
party here.
What are we all doing here today? Right?
Well, I think
So
what do we got? Five,
it
five on the call, right?
there
Because we
is
get
five on the call. So we got we got me and Mike at the usual. We got Josh again. Josh, thanks for coming.
Hello.
And then we have Eric. What are you doing here? What is this that you're talking to us about today? And who's in that car with you?
Sorry, Joe, since you started, I had to break it real fast. You're welcome.
That's good. But what
Yes.
about what I asked you?
He
Uh,
might not have heard you.
I'm so excited to be here, and the beard looks great. Um, should I keep trying?
no, you're good. That's good. He just said
sounds
he
good.
just said, "Why are you here?" And who is with you?
Okay.
Yeah, why
Yes.
are you here and who is with you? Yeah, okay. I didn't know if you
So
maybe didn't hear. Go on.
my son, Cyril, is with me here, and we are here because he wants to build out a family uh, LLM machine running locally. Um, he has lots of reasons for that I figure he'll lay on you all.
I will.
And you guys were so nice to say that you would love to talk about what that could look like.
Oh hell
Heck yeah.
yeah! I mean,
Incredible.
excellent. Right? Don't know how old
How old
Cyril
is Cyril? 25?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I'm 15 and a half.
He's 13.
Okay, we'll
right.
debate on whether or not this is like a made for kids episode.
Incredible. Yeah, we'll try to not be explicit.
Well, I gotta say, let's hop right into that. Right? Why are you doing this? What is your motivation here to build? I'm sorry, a family local language model machine. Love it. First of all, wouldn't need a reason. Still curious.
So whenever I build anything that uses like an API key or an AI, I always have problems with limits. It always runs into something and says we have to pay, and then it's like overpriced or it's hard. I also I've been doing I've been playing around with AI agents lately, and I hate having to give OpenAI my credentials, my Google account password, and email if I wanted to actually do anything useful. So I think it would be great to have that all local on my own thing where it never leaves my network.
Oh, Josh, can you imagine being this age with that much time to work on this exact problem? How fun.
I want to cry right now.
I know, right? My goodness. Well, one thing, by the way, I don't know if you know, Gemini has a free tier. It's like 15 requests a minute, but you'd still be giving your information to Google.
Right.
So if you do, in any case, have a privacy concern,
Uh-huh.
local's the way to go.
I think you.
How far have you guys gotten local? Have you started playing with any models? Do you know what Llama is?
Yes, I want to run Llama, maybe Stable Diffusion just for fun, but I was thinking I would just like install OLlama and then play around and see the best model that works for our hardware.
Cool.
Have you
Cool.
tried to run Llama? No, okay. He has a Raspberry Pi, so I was like, have you even tried that and failed horribly? But no, he's not tried. So
You can put, Josh. How many bees can you put on a pie?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't looked at it too much, but there is the new Gemma 3N, I think they call it, which is Google's like latest like on-device model, and I think that's got like 1.5 or 2 billion parameters. But
Okay.
yeah, I mean the thing you're going to run into is most of the local models still aren't near as good as the frontier models, right? They have some that are kind of catching up in certain areas, but as far as like generalist models, the kind of bigger frontier models are definitely, leaps and bounds ahead. That being said, I mean, we've got access to, local models that are as good, if not better, than some of the early frontier models, which is pretty exciting. Yeah, it's awesome to hear that you're, looking to get some stuff local. I would definitely encourage you to check out, the Google free tier, and then I can definitely share some info on there's Grok Cloud, GROQ, not Grok like the Twitter one, and that one has an amazing free tier. You get I don't know, something like 14,000 requests a day or something like that.
What?
And just like thousands of tokens. Yeah, it's obscene. I
Okay.
looked into it. I've never given a credit.
All right.
The also nice thing about Grok cloud is it's got lightning fast inference. And then you're able to, it's all open source models. So then you can play with like the Llama 8 billion per model and get like 500 tokens a second, which is insane. And then that'll give you a feel for like kind of what the local models can do.
I've tried.
And then also Hugging Face is another one.
Cool.
Sorry, go ahead.
I've tried
what are you saying?
I've tried the Gemini free tier for image classification for a project I'm working on, but I always blow through it just really quickly. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, images. Yeah.
right. It's an AI
Oh,
classifier classifies trash, and it just it does not do it fast enough.
I wonder if
Cyril,
Moondream,
quick
Josh.
question.
I wonder if Moondream is going to be a good model for that one. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, quick question. I know we asked kind of what for, but I don't know if we asked enough. Cyril, you said that, I think you gave a good reason for why you want a at-home LLM as opposed to, like some centralized LLM as a service. What are you trying to do with it though? Like, are you, doing travel planning? Are you working on a SaaS? Not that you should spoil any of your patents or anything here on the pod, but like, I'm just curious kind of what are the nature of some of the projects you're working on? Yeah, I think that's my question.
One of the things that I'm working on that I find it the most frustrating to run out of credits, and it's the big bottleneck in making it better, is an AI trash classifier. So you show it a piece of trash, and it decides whether it's recycling or waste or compost. Because I feel like a lot of people have problems doing that, and I think that's it uses a lot of AI, and I think I get it working, and I'm so excited. And then it just goes, not enough credits, and I'll wait like a week, and it still says it the first request I send to it. And I think it would be so nice to have that all local and under my control.
That you're using Gemini for that?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Did you?
That definitely sounds like something we could take a look at Hugging Face for, because that kind of, there might be some like fine tuning or something to look at, but it feels like that's a task that somebody's already solved for, and that's something that you want to use like a really specialized model for, right? It's going to be faster, and a lot of cases going to be free. And so Hugging Face has its own like inference endpoints, and you pay like $9 a month for their kind of supporting tier, and you get like faster rates and stuff like that. But through there, you can download local models and start to play with some of that stuff and see what they're capable of just there. And so there's actually a full like category you can sort by like classification or various categories that you're interested in, and start kind of playing, because people will have workspaces they can load there. And so that's another option for sure.
This trash recycling classification, what is the thinking around where to run this? I guess you probably have your phone. Do you like take a picture, upload the picture to some service that then talks to Google, for example, or did I just nail it? Does it go straight from phone to Google, or do you have an intermediate server?
I have a Raspberry Pi. The idea, it's a box. I have it in a box right now with like a webcam, and then you put the thing in the box, and I have a Python script that takes a picture of it and then sends it to Google and then brings it back. And then I have a servo motor with a dial that points at a thing, and then whatever Gemini said it points at.
Okay. I wanted to offer briefly as well, Josh, you had me thinking that they have specialized models. There also might be a non-language model based classifier, image classifier, computer vision models out there for probably even this exact purpose that would also reduce the amount of compute needed to do that kind of classification. Just your before language models even came out, they did have, is that a cat, is that a dog, models to maybe search through as well.
Originally,
yeah. So no, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Originally, before I moved to a language model, I was actually training my own model, and it was just really limited, and I had to do a lot of work to train all of that, and it could only do certain pieces of trash that I've trained it on, and once again, I hit a lot of limits. So the models, when I have enough credits and it's working, I've found that it's usually better. But if maybe someone has done that and pre-trained it, I've looked a bit into it, but not a ton. That would probably be better. So that's a good point.
Well,
okay.
Here you go.
Okay.
Here you
That's
go.
exciting,
So go ahead.
dude. Okay.
I don't know if you have access. Sorry, move cat. I don't know if you have access to the chat from where you're at, but I just shared Hugging Face. So there's actually an image to classification pipeline, and I was able to sort by trash. And there are many different kinds of trash detection models. So we've got VIT-based, we've got, let's see.
And here I dumped it as well, Eric, in our shared group chat for your availability another time.
There you go.
What does it
So, yeah,
classify
you
you as if you upload a profile pic?
I was gonna say this is right. You are teeing us up for a good bit here, like a trash classifier. It's like I'm gonna put your face at the top. You know that, right?
For sure. It's the first thing I'm uploading is a picture of your face.
Immediately, like, oh, I sorted by trash, and there's just you in here.
Right. So then you can sort. There's this one here that's got 41 downloads, and you can kind of see
When Cyril set it up
what.
At his school, he had a prototype that he did at his school with it, and yes, of course, that's what everybody did was like, classify this thing that isn't part of this classification thing. Let's put my keys in there.
Right.
My face, like human beings just have to break everything. That's kind of our nature.
Right. Right.
So
But,
this thing's under like a megabyte. It's really small, so you could probably run that on your Raspberry Pi. So I would definitely look into this. Now, not saying we don't need to build an LLM machine for the family.
Oh, we absolutely do,
still
especially if
on
I
the
heard the word
table.
if I heard the word agent on there for sure. And as well, I mean they make VLMs or LVMs, large vision models,
Large
LVMs.
models, yeah.
Where there's one that I mentioned, I'll look it up too. Moon Dream is surprisingly effective by, I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name, but I'll dump this in the chat as well. Where this is, I think, a 1.2, this is a 2 billion parameter model that you might be able to run on. You need a pretty beefier machine than a Raspberry Pi to make use of this, but it's got pretty good capacity, and maybe you can fine tune this one on your additional examples.
Yeah. I'd also like to call out. So I think Hugging Face is going to be a great place for you to start your journey because they've got classes. You can take tons of documentation, a huge community. It sounds like you're already into Python. So through Hugging Face, you can set spaces on the site and share them with people. And so you basically write Python scripts and can host models and all sorts of really cool things here. You can host data sets and host your own fine tunes of models. And so I really think that'd be a great place to start your journey. They actually have a small agents thing they've been working on. And the idea
SMOL.
is yes, small. And so they, that's kind of their bag, right? They have small vision models they've been working towards. And they actually have partnered with Paulin Robotics to come out with this robot, this little desktop robot that you can program. So I pre-ordered one of those. It'll be here this fall. But that's actually got a Raspberry Pi 5 in it with vision and all sorts of cool stuff. But anyways, point being that Hugging Face has a really, really cool community, and they're all about just, this, right? Working with small models locally. So definitely want to point you there. But that aside, we can definitely talk about some hardware stuff if we want to get into like that.
Well, that was going to be my next question. Well, go ahead, Eric.
Well, I was going to ask Cyril, do you have? I know that's like the hard use case.
Mm-hmm.
Do that for you itself.
Genius.
I think we lost you there.
No, you said have an agent go. I thought that was the whole pitch. We lost him. I'll tag him on the side too. At Eric, have an agent go. We lost you. So we'll see if he comes back. Luckily, we're on Riverside, and so if he's able to rejoin, it'll pick up where we left off.
Oh, that's right. That's nice. Cool. Yeah, that sounds like a fun use case. I think we got some things we could recommend for sure.
Yeah, and I mean we can maybe talk on the side. I mean I tagged him on the side. We'll see if he comes back. So
Are there
for now though,
are there already like I don't know, like out of the box solutions available out there where you can just buy, like a Raspberry Pi, you can buy like a little LLM brick, like a Google Home, but it's an LLM.
there's
You
a guy
plug
trying
it
to
in
make
at
a thing
house.
called Truffle.
Well,
It's like
I
your agentic.
Is the
all-in-one.
problem that like it's still so volatile and changing so quickly that the second you bought one, it would be like out of date
It's
or something? I mean,
it's just not that powerful, right? Like you're going to be better off building your own system, or like Nvidia has got this, $1,500 personal
Digits.
digits that they're coming out with. Like these companies are working on systems that the main it's the GPUs that is the main like kind of sticking point here, right? Like this
Yeah.
3090 we're looking at is, I don't even know how many years old now, 6 years old, 7 years old, and it's still like $900, right? And so you got to think that's like, and so, but the thing is, there's a lot of value in CPU inference, and that was one of the things I was going to bring up here. Is you can get one of the Mac Minis, an M4 with like 32 gigabytes memory, VRAM, and run like I got an M4 Pro for work. It's got 48 gigabyte RAM, and I can run local models on it pretty well, and pretty fast in a lot of cases for some of these smaller models, which is all you're really going to need to be doing. Like I can push it up to like a 30, I think I can get like 70 build per AM model on there, but just slow. And at that point, it's been quantized and nerfed so much that it's not even worth it, right? Like you're really looking around 8 to 12 to like 20 build parameter. I would say 30 bills probably like the max you really want to go on these.
With like
Do you think like the mass
quantization aware trained 30B, like quencoder. Go ahead, Mike.
Right.
Well, just like the mass consumer products will basically always be like centralized, like server based. Like I have AI on my third party, third world smartwatch, and I think that obviously that's just server based. Like it's sending the request to a server somewhere that is I'm not running a freaking model on my watch. So now with video, what up? Oh, bye-bye.
Well, I
don't know. I'll probably have to disable that anyway. I don't know if you can have kids on video. Yeah. I don't know what the rules are. I have to Google it.
I mean, if you think about like the iPhones like have Siri on them now, right? Or have like a LLM on it now, and they're not that great, right? And maybe they will get there, but you're always going to be better off like building out your own system so that you can expand on, and that's kind of where the PC route is. And one thing I'm wondering is just building a CPU based inference station and then getting a GPU later. But can you guys hear us?
Yeah, over there? Back?
Now, another question I had.
You're just going to run out of space. Like I think the thing is, a lot of these local models are like 24 gigabyte is kind of the consumer level, like VRAM that a lot of them are shooting for. That being said, there's been a lot of work around, trying to get it down to 12, 16 gigabytes. What I would focus on is getting a nice platform as far as just like making sure you have a motherboard that can support like, DDR5, something that's going to future proof you guys a bit, because you can do it cheap and buy stuff that's a little older now, but then it's going to be out of date in a few years and you're not going to be able to upgrade that platform, So getting the stable platform you're able to upgrade on, I think is going to be the most valuable thing. And GPUs hold their value, so you could start with like a 12 gigabyte, and then when you're ready to upgrade, you could upgrade to a 24, right? Or something else cheaper would come out. That being said, you can get the new Mac Minis. I think they're maybe 2024s, but they're M4 chip. You can get like 32 gigabytes of RAM for like $1,100 or something like that. And that's CPU inference, but these Mac Silicon chips are actually really powerful. I've got one in my laptop I'm talking to you on, and I can run up to like I've got 48 gigabyte RAM on mine, so it's a little more than 32 gigs, obviously, but I can get up to like 30 billion parameter models pretty reliably on here, and get some pretty decent output.
So. Something else to consider, you're probably going to want to run more than a single model at a time as your use cases grow. Like on my machine, I have a 3090. I bought a 3090 from Josh. Thank you so much, Josh. I, for example, I'm running Whisper also, and that takes up like 2 to 3 gigs. And so I've got like 2 to 3 gigs running Whisper, the speech to text transcription. And then I've got the OpenAI 20 billion parameter open source model that just came out, and those just about fit. Now, software like Ollama can be configured to, when a request comes in, like a networked request comes in, if you're asking for Model 1, and Model 1 is not, loaded in the RAM yet, it'll go find Model 1, load it in the RAM, and then complete your request. And then subsequent requests are very fast. But then if you ask for Model 2, Ollama will unload Model 1, load up Model 2, and then complete those requests. It might be a little slower, but you don't necessarily need parallel models if you have different kinds of tasks depending on how quickly the answers need to come in.
That will increase latency, though. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, indeed.
But like
indeed.
you want to run like Stable Diffusion too, so then you're like looking at like 6 to 8 gigabyte potentially. But yeah, these things can come in and out of memory, so they're not always taken to memory. But yeah, for the sake of like latency, if you could run those models in memory at the same time, you're gonna just things are gonna output faster. So something to consider. But there's upgrade paths. I think is what I really want to kind of let y'all walk away with this from.
I think you can stack Mac Minis, right, Josh?
Yes, I've seen people stack like 8 of them, and then so people are running these like giant like 120 bill parameter models locally by doing this and kind of chaining these together. I've seen people do it with Raspberry Pis too and things, but yeah, I mean, you're really just going to want to start small. I think, what you'll find is all these agentic tasks don't work as well locally with these smaller models as they do with these big frontier models. I've been working with these for a couple of years now and doing a lot of local model pipelines, and it's definitely improved a lot, and it will continue to improve. But it's a good 10 months behind the current like state of the art models for sure.
Can you increase your processing power by chaining like multiple Raspberry Pis together, or is that like not how it works?
No, that's the thing is you can set up you can do inference across multiple systems and multiple GPUs, but that's just to complicate the setup and
Gotcha.
processing. So I'd recommend just starting with like one GPU and then going from there. Because another thing to consider is cloud GPUs are cheap, right? And so obviously you're uploading it to a service, but depending on the service, going to have different data processing pipelines and whatnot, or cost. But yeah, there's like Bedrock on AWS if you want to host your own models. Again, there's the Hugging Face inference endpoint. So there's a ton of options that will allow you to kind of play with things that are a little outside of the range of your build until you can kind of add more components, right? But a Mac Mini is going to lock you in. Like you're going to have a Mac Mini and you're just going to be set up with whatever it has. I don't know if there's really an upgrade path there.
They're going to love this episode when they listen to it. Welcome, maybe back. Welcome back.
We're back.
We've been listening, but it wouldn't let us talk. So,
okie doke. Well, that's good. Welcome.
My phone is
back.
overheating. I'm putting it up to the air conditioner of the car right now. The beauties of Texas.
Classic
Austin
problem.
Mike, this is me and him because like even if I've got the 5G, it's just gonna murk your ear. Also, make sure you're turning our video off on your side. I don't know if you have the option.
Eric, last year I had my performance review, and it ended up being after hours, and I was out at dinner, and so I had to take the call from my vehicle, and I went outside and put my phone up on like the mount on my windshield, and I lost power like 5 times during it was the worst. It was so embarrassing. Yeah.
So the question that Cyril and I both have is, you guys are talking a lot about like. Or Josh, you were saying like using just some good CPUs, and the research that we were doing seemed to be like, no, you really need to do all this on a GPU. Is that people just being a little bit too?
It depends what you want to do. Like,
okay.
Right? Like if you're looking to like stack GPUs and try to run like the biggest local model you can, like you can start looking into that. But like I said, I'm running 30 billion parameter models on my laptop here with an M4 and 48 gigabytes of RAM. Is it as fast as if I was stacking GPUs and if you're in there? No, but that's also it's that trade-off. Like I would say you would want to budget like $2,000 I think for a decent GPU or decent setup using a 3090. You can knock that down with the GPU, or you can cut costs on some of the other components. But there's a Venn diagram there kind of as far as like. Mm-hmm. Where you want to be. And in my opinion, building out the system, I would start just making sure you have a good foundation that's, expandable down the road. Because, like I said, the GPUs hold their value and you can trade them out as long as you get a decent one. So you could start with something a little smaller and then work with that until, you've saved up some more or have kind of pushed that GPU to limits, right? And then just make sure you have a decent CPU and some RAM.
I do want to make a comment that there's 3 different kinds of architectures to consider. One is the just an x86 CPU and a Windows machine kind of setup, like not referring to the Apple Silicon Unified Memory platform.
Yeah.
That kind of CPU is going to be slow. It's going to take
Yeah,
up
that's true.
however
Yeah.
much RAM, and even though RAM's cheap, you're looking at like 100 times slower. I don't know the number. It feels like it might as well
Yeah.
be 1,000. It's crazy how slow it is, and so
Okay.
therefore, like what I'm looking at is, oh, I need a GPU. Let me put it in there for the parallel processing benefit and the high bandwidth memory. Okay, great. Now I'm getting fast tokens. Now on my MacBook Pro, this is Apple Silicon. It's got 24 gigs of RAM, but it's unified
Yeah.
RAM, and
That's true.
so you get
Okay.
nearly effectively the GPU benefit on this as you would. And so CPU outside of an Apple Silicon use case is going to frustrate you, and you shouldn't do it.
Yeah, that is a good call
So
for
the
sure.
VRAM the VRAM is the important thing, not the GPU. So if you can have
uh,
mixed RAM, you're fine.
No.
your the graphics card's RAM is going to determine how big of a model you can run fast. The amount of uh, RAM you have, non VRAM, your instead of your GDDR, your
Right.
DDR, right? Game. I don't know if it's gaming, but your motherboard, the RAM that goes into your motherboard. Um, you could put a model on that, but it's going to be very slow on the CPU. The models that I load up go into my GPU, they move quickly, and then again on Apple Silicon, if you were to buy this M4 Josh was pitching, it's kind of unified, and so you get to
Right.
use
You
that
get to
whole
use it.
24 gig or so.
I've heard of people just stacking up Mac Studios and linking them all together and being able
Yeah.
to do a lot with those because of the unified memory.
Yeah, and you can stack them that way because Josh was getting at like, oh, you want to be able to expand. Well, yeah, you kind of can if you just start buying Mac Minis.
Right. Yeah, I don't know what the power consumption on that would be. That's something to look into as well.
You can stack.
But yeah,
What does it mean to stack the Mac Minis?
you like link them together, right? So then all the processing power becomes unified to power a bigger
You-
model, right? It's
I
the same
think you
like
have a Thunderbolt between them, right? Is it Josh?
Okay.
It's like a
I haven't
40.
looked that deep into it. It's probably I
I'm
mean that
pretty.
can that,
I'm
that
pretty
would be
sure.
that would make sense. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's that you're connecting like Thunderbolt 40 gig
Right.
networking between them, such that the bandwidth is that they might as well be in the same machine. In
Yeah,
effect.
it's similar to the way I can actually throw another GPU in my rig and combine those to
Right.
add more processing power, right? But now it's just
So
it's just the Mac Minis.
I think that goes back to a question that we asked a little bit earlier, and I don't think I quite got the answer, which is like, if with that idea of throwing in another GPU into your rig, right? What is it? How does it compare to have one GPU that has 24 gigs and two that have 12?
Well, you're going to start overcomplicating things. So one thing to consider is power consumption, right? These gaming GPUs are not designed for like stacking. So one GPU is going to be like 650 watts or 900 watts for like some of these 49s and newer ones, right? So then you're going to have a bigger PSU. You're also going to have a better motherboard to handle that data consumption and just consider all that stuff. And then you're going to have a whole other setup to have that kind of split across two GPUs. So you're overcomplicating it there automatically.
Just electricity costs.
What's that?
Electricity costs too.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. And then also a PSU, so you're going to have to buy a power supply unit that has a certain amount of wattage maximum, right?
Right.
And so you can get away with like an 800 watt one if you're using a 3090, but I would recommend probably 1,000. But then you're looking, if you want two GPUs in there, well, you might need a 1,600 watt, because they're not designed for that purpose, right?
Okay.
And so that's I would say don't do that, because you can do things like offload models onto this part of the model onto the CPU as well. There's a ton of things you can do to fine tune and tweak that, but right now y'all just need to get like a system together and start playing around with it, because you don't want to start complicating with like what's it called, distributed inference and things like that, right? Like that's just going to add another layer of complexity and frustration and troubleshooting, right?
Is that true of stacking the Mac Minis too? Like it is more
Presumably.
complicated.
Yeah, presumably. But again, you can start with one, right? And then get
Right.
2, get 3 if you really want to, right? But the thing is just getting in and getting used to running that stuff locally, because there's a lot of learning involved and a lot of things you're going to kind of run into, and having to get the Python stuff set up and getting your CUDA environment. Like there is a lot. You're going to be drinking from the fire hose for a while, So I would definitely try to keep it as scoped as possible.
Yeah.
So the main
Also, the
takeaway-
performance difference is it's going to be slower if split across 2 GPUs just because of the bandwidth, but like it would be faster. Like if it would be faster to run a better model at 48 or 48 total gigs of VRAM than it would be to try to run the same model or have a quantized version of lesser performance on the one GPU. Like it's worth the split. It's worth the reduced throughput. But Cyril, you had a question.
So our main takeaway from here, I guess, should be that we should start small so that we can learn and not spend a ton of money, but we should also leave a lot of room for improvement and being able to add more things to make it better in the future as we learn more.
Yeah, that, or make sure you're buying stuff that's quality enough, right, that you could resell it and recoup some of that money, right? Like, I don't know, like I imagine Mac Minis are probably going to hold on value for a while, or like, it's like don't buy a cheap third party like GPU, like buy a nice one, because those ones will hold their value. Like the one I sold Joe a few years ago is still the same cost it was when I sold it, right?
I think it
like,
went up.
Well, no, I gave you a friend discount. Like it was already like, yeah. We got keep that under wraps. But
yeah.
But anyways, point being, like,
Don't say it on a podcast.
This
That's
technology, if purchased correctly, will like recoup its value. So that's just something to get something you can expand on, or just get something that you can recoup your losses. If you either decide you don't want to do it, it's not something worth your time, or if you want to upgrade, right? So there's a lot of paths forward here, I guess, is what I would take away from this. And just kind of start digging in.
Yeah, I think if you're looking to go the consumer grade commodity route, I think 24 gigs is probably the sweet spot today. And if you find that that's not fitting your needs, you'll be in a position to justify the 48, and then you get to keep the 24. You can have multiple workloads. You potentially have more demand there.
I've got 5 computers now.
see if you can make your school just buy one and give you permission to use it. Also might be cute. I get my work to buy me stuff all the time. I didn't spend a dime on this laptop. I'm just so do look out for those opportunities as well.
I think it works out a little better funding than
I don't know. I don't know. Private school.
They're cutting all the after-school programs. I don't know if they would done this.
Okay. Public school then. Gotcha.
Joe, so a 48 would be, that's going to be where, like, that itself is probably a couple grand for something like that. Like, that's a pretty big jump, right?
Wait,
what was the 24 versus 48 mini there, Josh?
Oh no, I thought you were talking about that for the video card. 48.
No, so a 24 to 48 is going to be a huge jump. No, the 24 is what you're looking at, and a 3090 is probably going to be the best bet for that amount of VRAM.
Is that what you're looking at? 3090s? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but even there, you're looking at $800 to $900 used on eBay for that. So that's like a huge chunk of that cost. And then realistically, yeah, it's hard to put one together for under $2,000 unless you want to, again, skimp on some of the other components.
And you think that skipping other components is going to cause us frustration, basically?
No, I mean, there's so many things you could do here, right? Because there's just so many, like, such a range of CPUs and motherboards. Like, you can do it pretty cheap, but some of it might just not last that long. Or like I said, if you buy an older motherboard, like platform, like DDR4 or something like that, you're not going to be able to upgrade in a few years, right? When everything is pretty much using that spec, right?
I'm curious.
Like you could do a 30. It's a 32 for 1200 was the Mac.
Oh
Mini
yeah, for
pitch.
the Mac Mini, yeah. So that's honestly, that feels like a pretty good start to me.
If you're not trying to play, well, I guess it probably would do good video games actually.
Yeah.
But it seems like it's pretty Pretty good. 16 core neural engine? What does that mean? I got to Google some
Oh, I'm
stuff.
not sure, but they have some good. Yeah, I mean, I would look at something like that because then you could either expand that by like start looking at stacking and get a little more technical there, or you could, if you get really into it, it's like cool. Then you can start looking at building like an actual PC, or maybe there's like new CPU technology by then or whatever. But then you could have that little studio as like a home server, right? And then have that agent on there communicating with your other new agents and stuff like that, right? There's a whole bunch of possibilities there for sure, but that to me feels like right in your price range and should give you a lot of power to kind of start playing around with at the level you want to. And they have stable diffusion support and all that stuff. So
I know it's possible to add an external GPU to like a Raspberry Pi. Could you do that to a Mac or an Apple computer?
I've seen stuff like that, but I haven't looked into it too much. But yeah, I have seen connections to hook up.
I've seen Gearling do the external GPU on the Pis.
Right.
Yeah,
that's what I thought too.
Yeah. Well, the thing is going to be different about the Mac is that might I think I was going to say you maybe look at Linux, but I think a lot of people run the GPUs might be running on Linux. I don't know if that has like native Mac support, but that's something to look into.
Do Macs still support putting Linux on it as opposed to Mac OS?
Yeah, but you might lose some of this. I don't know what kind of like Apple Silicon support like you'd lose there, because that's all built into. They have this what is it, MLX, or I think isn't that what it's called?
Yeah.
Joe, MLX is their kind of their machine learning like language. So they've like got converted Stable Diffusion over to this, and so they were kind of running their own tech.
Yeah, the drivers also might not play as nice, but I don't have any.
I honestly, if you go to the Mac route, just stick with Mac for a while, because setting up a Linux machine learning like environment is a bit of a headache. I've had to do it quite a few times, and I always have to look it up, and there's always just and especially with the Mac, I don't know what kind of the drivers and stuff.
And then also, earlier you mentioned to like get a name brand GPU and not like some random one made in China. Where do you draw the line? Do you, like should we only get NVIDIA or AMD, or if like?
Well, you're gonna want. I would recommend NVIDIA.
Yeah, only go NVIDIA.
Okay.
Because AMD does have some CUDA support now, and then I think Intel has kind of their own language. But no, all the tutorials, everything you find are going to be CUDA based, and you're going to have it's going to be a headache trying to run into that. What I mean, so NVIDIA basically they license the chipset, right? And so all these companies, around the world can basically license that technology and then stack whatever they want on it, and they can sell it cheaper because they skimp on like the cooling or skimp on something, right? And you're going to end up burning down your GPU, way sooner, or you might luck out and something might be fine. But it's just that's one of the GPUs and PSUs I would not skimp on, especially like cheap PSUs can burn down your house. But. So that's what I meant about like name brand, like get something that's more like a first party, right? Something or not necessarily first party, but like there are reputable brands, and just look up like Reddit or like X GPU review on Reddit, and people will tell you like their experience.
Thank you for telling my son to go look things up on Reddit. That's
sorry, not Reddit.
No, I'm just joking. He's on Reddit.
Yeah. That's my go-to for reviews anymore. It feels like so many other sites have so many like bots and things now.
Is the GPU that you Josh sold to Joe an NVIDIA 3090 or?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, was it a Founders Edition I sent?
I think so.
You have the FTW, right?
I do have the FTW.
FTW.
Yeah, it's all NVIDIA for CUDA. You basically have to use NVIDIA with CUDA, especially for any kind of ML you're going to wind up doing, any kind of LLM ops. The standards NVIDIA.
Right. So like when we were looking at used 3090s, we saw quite a few for like in the $700 range. But if you're saying we should really stick with NVIDIA, then I think that the Apple idea is sounding very good, because those NVIDIA GPUs were really pricey.
Yeah, and you got to be careful too, because you don't know like what kind of life it lived before, right? Like someone could have been gaming on it 24/7 or mining Bitcoins, or like when I sold one to Joe, I sold him to Ofer actually. He bought my 3080 that I sold, and I got the 3090 to replace. But like if you can find somebody that has one, or just it's if something seems too good to be true, it probably is. Like just make sure it's a reputable like seller, make sure it looks clean. see if there's anything in the summary about like usage and things like that.
It looks an awful lot like I checked GPT-5. It looks an awful lot like ARM 64 Linux on an M4 Mini is going to do fine. As long as you don't need any x86 workloads, looks like it'll just be fine. And then I can recommend Coolify for your home lab self-hosting needs.
Oh wait, it's saying that hosting Linux shouldn't be an issue.
It's just ARM 64, so I don't know if there's any specific driver complexity, but I would double check before you hit buy. But it looks an awful lot like it would indeed support a Linux. I don't know what Mac in a server capacity would operate like, if conveniently. I'm not certain of that. There's like weird stuff with Docker. Like, can Docker touch the file system the way you expect, or does it have to go through like weird virtual mount stuff? But with Linux, you just go straight to the disk, and maybe the performance is there. Like, I run all of my workloads in Docker. I run Olama in Docker. I
mean, it sounds to me like the piece you're interested in is like the inference piece or like the agentic piece, right? So I would recommend if you were going to go Mac, just set up with the Mac, get as far as you can there, and then maybe start looking at something else, because you can spend a lot of time getting in the weeds, setting up an LLM environment and inference and fine tuning all that stuff, which is great. And if that's something you're into, I highly recommend it. But you could spend a couple weekends fighting it and finally get it set up, maybe to start doing the inference, right? And if that's the piece you're really excited about getting into, then I would just try to find the path of least resistance.
You also don't have to set up CUDA if you go the Mac Mini route, right? I think. Like, it just compiles to Metal, I think it's called.
Yeah.
And so that might be a benefit, or it could be a disadvantage if you wanted to get really into system administration. Setting up the NVIDIA drivers and stuff was a whole thing.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, I could just share you the steps I took. It's not that it can't be done, and ChatGPT will walk you through it. But like, my goodness, is it 0 steps with a Mac Mini to be up immediately with Olama versus you got to set up the NVIDIA drivers, and then you got to get the containers working with Docker if you wanted to containerize, which I'll wind up recommending. So there's some other kind of plug and play benefit as well to the Mac Mini
thing. Hey, you guys, when we first started looking into this, one of Cyril's selling points was that this was going to pay for himself because he was going to sell cycles. What do you guys think about that?
Sell cycles?
He was going to make the hardware available online to sell the idle time.
Oh.
Yes, exactly.
Have you looked into the returns on that?
I talked to ChatGPT about it, and it sounds like it would pay for energy costs and pay for itself in a few years.
What is the break even on my M4 Mini 32G?
I mean, maybe, I don't know, maybe in a few years. I would say the savings on inference could be more valuable. When I first started getting into this, I was spending $150, $200 a month on inference costs, but I was talking to AI like 12, 14 hours a day for a while there. So it can definitely add up, but there are so many options, like I was saying, as far as like some of those free tiers, like the Grok console, and I'll get you some more links together. I'll share it with your dad, and he can forward to you. But there's a ton of things to kind of play around with. Some of the cloud stuff you could get on and play with, cloud GPUs and things like that. But yeah, I don't know. I personally would push y'all towards the Mac Mini. I think it's going to hold its value if you decide you want to resell or change it out, and it's just going to get you up and running a little bit faster.
I think that's a great idea, and I've heard a lot of good things about the M4 Mac Mini, and people seem to like it a lot. So
yeah. And I'll also send you guys some the Hugging Face links. Like, there are some classes you can take on there, especially around like these small agents and things like that. So you could start getting an idea of what's needed there, and then through that you can start seeing how much memory it takes to run those models through their the notebook or whatever you set it up with. That can start giving you an idea of like where those limits are as well.
What are you looking to do with some agents? What's your agents use case?
Yes.
You looking to have it triage email, or are you trying to? Do you say you're making a product? What are
Yeah,
you
so
what are you working on?
my dad has been working on a to-do list website where it's like what's the one you use? It's like Todoist, if you've ever heard of that. But so he's
Yeah.
making it, and we both agreed that a cool feature that it could have would be if an agent would do online tasks that you add as your own task, and it would go out and do that. And I think that that would be something that we wouldn't want to. I think that would be nice to have our own server for this website as opposed to paying an AI company to do that, because if you there's I found a good on GitHub. I found a good open source thing that you can use to connect a model to your browser, and you need a computer to host that on. And if we had multiple people using it, and we also have to host that AI, I think that that would be a great use of the AI service.
Browser computer use agent solution. Interesting, like remote jobs. And this would be just for your family, or you're going to try to offer this service from your home to strangers?
Well, that's my dad's problem.
Yeah, I think that to start it would be us seeing how it works and seeing if it is useful and valuable.
Okay.
But if the product got larger, then we'd probably have to. It probably wouldn't. I would imagine it wouldn't work to run it to strangers.
Just I guess, Eric, if you wind up compelled to let strangers into your network, reach out to me. You might already know about it, but there are ways to put a system online in a safe way. It's literally it's you get two routers and you Cloudflare tunnel off of one of the routers. I can talk you through that when
So
you
that
get to that stage.
Basically, you're isolating your network from that one.
Yeah, because your router is already plugged into a public internet. The idea would be to put a secondary router behind it for your actual LAN for your computers and stuff, and then you'd have like an internet facing router, and then even that wouldn't use your public IP. You'd take the thing that's not on your LAN and put a Cloudflare tunnel on it, and that's how people would get to the machine, and then they would have to break into your router firewall to get to you, which they already would have to over your public IP. So that's the short of what I'm suggesting. You can also use a VLAN, but no one supports VLANs, and it's not fun to run Open Router, Open WRT, I think it's called. I tried for a while. Lots of fun, way too much trouble.
Yeah, I'd say we're a while out for that, Joe, but
Yeah, let me know. Just let me know before you start putting stuff online for strangers.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, hey guys, I'm actually going to take off here in a moment. I got scheduled for a meeting here at 2 my time. I get ready for. But Cyril, I hope I helped out answer some of those questions. It's exciting to hear that you're looking to get some of the local LLM stuff set up.
Thank you so much.
Dude, you just talked him into buying a Mac. Now Eric's got to go buy a Mac. You just did Cyril a huge favor.
You probably saved him money.
Cyril's got all this validation from you guys. Now Eric's got no choice.
He's got a plan to rent it out. It'll work out. It'll be cool. And if it does work, Eric, let me know, and I'll buy one too.
He's probably going to buy it himself. The kid probably makes more money than we do. So.
Well, hey, if you guys do end up purchasing, let us know and we'll set up another call and we can kind of jump out into some of the other tools we were wanting to get to, like some node-based automation tools and things like that.
Oh yeah, we didn't even get to talk about N8N, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I call it Nathan.
N8N, yeah.
But yeah, that's a fun tool. Mike wants to check that out as well. So Joe and I have been playing around with it quite a bit.
Next session.
Yeah. So let's do it. Good luck, and I'll be sending over some more resources for y'all to check out and play around with. But Cyril, feel free to send me any questions. You're welcome to grab my email from Eric, or Eric can ask for you. So happy to spend more time talking about this.
Thank you, Josh.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, Joe.
Yeah.
Bye.
Later.
Thanks,
Appreciate
y'all.
you. Later.
I guess I'm hitting stop now.